Yeah, it says we're live, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Khatija Osman, the founder of Fempreneur Co. With the first series of our Fempreneur Youth Women of Tomorrow. And we have today a very special guest, LaNease Adams, who is an actress, a motivational speaker who inspires people through her platform, and a producer. So, like, no matter how much I try to introduce her, words will fall short. So I will let LaNease introduce herself. And before we begin, I like to say that a lot of times we are our own worst critics. And Lenice, from her journey, from the girl next door to becoming a Hollywood star, is going to share with us how important it is to love yourself in the process and to be kind to ourselves. So, Lenice, please share with us your journey and tell us what was the turning point for you when you realized that, I need to be kind to myself, I need to love myself a little more.
Well, good morning, Khadijah. Well, it's morning here in Los Angeles, California. I think it's evening where you are. So, good
Yeah.
evening. Well,
Yeah.
it actually was an interesting journey. I always was very well educated, so that was great. I thought I had everything together. But once I did a reality show, The Bachelor, it was the very first season, and I sort of had overnight fame. Once I had that experience, I just started to really come up against a lot of obstacles, self doubt, self worth, and also obstacles from just people who were watching the show who also wanted to give their opinions on me. And I just ended up going through so much turmoil that it sent me into a bit of a tailspin, and it was a very tough experience. And coming out of that after a lot of dark days, when I came out of that, I asked myself, how did this happen? How did you go from things going well for you to this dark period? And I realized it was because I didn't have life rules, and I didn't have self-love. I had just been allowing myself to be mistreated, and I realized I needed to put some rules into place to make myself feel strong so I can go out into the world and have experiences, positive and negative, and not let those negative experiences get me down. So that was the beginning of the journey there.
So, Lenice, please tell us, uh, how do you feel that for the youth, they sometimes, become their own worst critics, and how they can deal with that?
Well, why I'm glad that we're speaking with the youth is one, I want and I believe that they should be aware of self-love. I I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know that I didn't have it until it was too late. So if it's something that when you're young you can start asking yourself, how do I feel about myself? Do I allow myself to be put into situations where I'm not respected or I'm not happy? If you answer yes to those questions, you allow people to mistreat you, then you can have a problem with self love, and you have to go ahead and address that before you get older and it becomes a much worse issue. What I have learned is that we are our own worst critics. All you have to do is give 100%. If there's something that you want to do, learn how to do it, and practice makes perfect. Just keep trying, and eventually you'll get to where you need to be. Don't beat yourself up if you don't get it right on the first, second, third, fourth try, because even the best people, when they first started off, they didn't know what they were doing either. So it's all about practice, repetition, working hard, believing in yourself. If you fall, get back up, figure out what went wrong, how can I do better. Take notes, and you'll be fine.
Yes, like you so rightly said, LaNease, nobody started walking by taking the first step. Like, you know, when a baby starts walking, it falls and stumbles and gets up and then tries again and keeps trying. And that's how babies learn to walk. And this is
Yes.
applicable to every stage in life whenever we're initiating something or getting into something new. Like from youth, when you were young and we're qualifying for something, and we get into practical life. So practical life is full of hiccups. What were some of the hiccups that you had to face
Well,
when you
well,
entered your career? Yeah.
Well, and I'll also piggyback off of the point that you just made, because it's a very
Mm-hmm.
important point. I actually had it on my wall for a while, and that quote is, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step.
Exactly.
Everything in my life that I've done, when I was younger, I actually ended up winning trophies playing chess. But the first time I played chess, I just walked into the chess club at school and thought, oh, this looks pretty cool. Can I try? Can I sit down and try? And I didn't know what I was doing at all, but I wanted to try. And eventually I learned how to play, and I practiced and practiced, and I got really good at it. Same thing with my acting. I just wanted to try it. I didn't know what it took, but it just took me to step through that fear of trying. And everybody has that fear. All of my successful friends and unsuccessful friends all had that fear. The difference between the two are the people who walk through that fear, because we all have it. When it's something new, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, but you just have to try. As far as the hiccups that I faced in life, I faced a lot of challenges. I think the more difficult ones were once I became an adult. I faced challenges of just more self-doubt, just not knowing, like, the things we're trying to tell these youth now. I didn't know. I was afraid, but I didn't know, hey, everybody's afraid. I doubted myself, but I didn't know, hey, everybody doubts themselves.
Hmm.
So, had I known those things, then I wouldn't have just, balled up into a shell. I would have been stronger, because I knew that I wasn't alone, that we're all on this journey just trying to do our best.
Mhm. So, LaNease, we have a youth that has joined us, and she's actually Malaika Sukhera, a lawyer and a human rights activist. And I thought, as a representative of the youth, it would be best to have someone who represents to ask the questions directly that they're facing right now. Because, like, I think for me, it head back to more than 2 decades back when I was young, and I was in that journey and in that phase.
Yes.
So I think since we've passed that, we need somebody who is actually representing that right now and who might be going through some of those phases at the moment. So let's hear from her. Let me add her to the screen. So, hi, Malaika. Can you hear us?
Hi,
Hello,
Malaika.
how are you?
Hi, Malaika.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi.
Hmm.
So you have some
Yes.
questions for us, Malaika? Congratulations, by the way, on
Well, I
all of
feel
your
like,
accomplishments.
thank you, thank you. I feel like one of the questions, like the first one that came to my mind was, well, you know how as a young girl, I think something that almost every young girl struggles with is settling, whether it's, no matter what it's about. I feel like when you're not aware of what you really deserve and like the boundaries you should set. I feel like a lot of people just struggle with settling. What advice would you give like to girls that are
I
struggling with really standing their ground?
I think that's a great question because that was something that I ended up having a big problem with. I was always putting other people's happiness above my own. I thought that as long as I was
Yeah,
making them happy, then in turn I would be happy. What I learned was that relationships are a two-way street. So if someone wants to be your friend or if someone wants to be in your life, you set boundaries that feel good for the both of you. If someone is saying things that hurt you, so when you spend time with them, you don't feel good about yourself, then that's not someone that you should be spending time with. You want to be around and cultivate positive friendships. And sometimes that negative energy might even come from someone that's close to you. And when you're younger, you don't have as much choice about where you spend your time all the time. So you want to always be thinking, if someone's negative to you, you want to block that out and maybe do some journaling and just talk that out with yourself and try to figure out how you can avoid that negativity and stay in the positive. But you want to keep healthy boundaries. Does that make sense?
I think it absolutely makes sense.
yeah,
Lenise,
definitely.
and tell us when when you finally discovered that I should be kinder to myself. What were the practical steps that you started taking? Was it positive self-talk? Were the positive affirmations? What were the practical steps that you started taking?
Well, when I realized that I had been allowing people to take advantage of my kindness, when I realized that and I decided that I needed to change it, I started saying no more than I had ever said no. No used to be a hard word for me, but I just started to take into account how I felt. You know, we don't, not especially if you're a really nice person, sometimes you don't stop to think about how you feel before you say yes to something. You just want to make that other person happy.
Certainly.
But
Exactly.
I started to take account to say, okay, if I do this, how is that going to make me feel? Do I feel that this person deserves whatever it is that they're asking me to do? Because it's just like a bank account, right? If you keep doing withdrawals, which is giving all of your money away, eventually you don't have anything left. You want to make sure you are in, you're giving and taking. So I started to be cognizant of that. And, I did a lot of journaling. And that is one thing that I know when you're younger, you don't realize how important that is. but a way to kind of keep track of how you feel about things going on in your life is to journal. Just write, like, this really makes me happy, or this really makes me sad, or I'm really excited about this. Because when you get those thoughts out onto paper, you're able to really just be clear about everything in your life. And that the sooner you can start being clear, the better and easier it will be for you to find and keep your happiness.
Hmm. So, Malaika, as a youth, what do you feel? What is your definition of self-love? How do you put that into practical steps?
I
Malika?
feel like one of the things that she mentioned was definitely learning to say no.
Yeah.
Like it's still a process and I'm still getting there. Like I don't know how to like how to just say no because it feels like you're being rude or it feels like someone's going to like think you're being arrogant or something. It's so weird how this is such a basic and healthy necessity, but you struggle with it.
Mhm.
And the other, like the question I asked her, it's settling. Like it's like okay. I feel like those also like fall in the same, like they're kind of interlinked, settling as well, because you just think, okay, I'm not gonna say no, like it's fine how it is. I feel like that's one of the things that I'm struggling with right now.
Mhm.
And yeah,
well
I think
i'll
that's like top of my head, that's number one. Yeah, yeah.
Well, when you say no, you don't have to just say no. Like, no. You can say, I would love to do that, but I've got so much on my own plate right now. I just can't fit it in. Or, give a really good reason. Or, I
Mhm.
you like, you don't have to end it with just no. You can give an actual reason why. And if it's someone that you really do like, who is a good person, and you just have to say no to them, then you can say, you can preface it with some positive things, but you just don't want to keep running yourself low. But you don't have to just be like,
Mhm.
no, 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 thanks. No, you can,
Yeah, yeah.
soften it up a bit.
Yes, like let me think about it, or, something like that to the effect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yes, let me think about it,
But I
and
feel
then
like
give it thought.
yeah, but just like us young girls, like we're taught to sugarcoat everything, like use words that like soften things up. And I feel like that's why we struggle so much with like just being able to speak your thoughts and setting boundaries.
Yes, we do sugarcoat things, but to be honest, I think that's okay. And it's not just women that do it. There's a lot of
Mhm.
successful men that I know
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
sweeten things, because and that's actually a great tool of life. It's like even medicine that you take, they sweeten it up a bit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it makes things not so harsh. Now, it's not like you have to really like continuously bend over, but you can say things with a sweet tone, and that makes it a little easier for people to accept as well. That is just, I think, it's a great rule. Like, even when I was working for these powerful CEOs, billion-dollar companies, one of the reasons why my relationship was so great with these people was because I was able to, be kind as I worked. Like, so they felt comfortable asking me questions because they knew even if I were to say no, I wouldn't make them feel bad about
Mm-hmm.
it. So sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no. I'm never going to make you feel bad about it. So it's okay to have a kind disposition. You do, just because you say no, you can still say it in a kind way. That way you don't run through life. You don't want to piss everybody off, because sometimes these people are good people, and maybe sometimes you want to ask them for stuff too. So you don't really want to, burn a lot of
Burn the
bridges.
bridges. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, but that's a great key in life, to figure out how to say no in a very nice way,
Yeah,
because then people are like, they don't even realize you just said no. Like
exactly. It's the art of saying no.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Someone actually like said this to me like about 4 or 5 years ago. They're like, it doesn't matter what you say. The only thing that matters is how you say it. As long as you say
Absolutely.
like, yeah, like whatever's on your
Yes.
mind, just say it in the kindest
Abs-
way possible, and then it won't feel as bad.
yes. That has been a real key to success for me. Because then you're not, like I said, you're not making people upset, but you're able to still have your boundaries, and you're still getting where you need to go. Because the more you also want to have friends, you want to have people who think you're kind,
Obviously.
so that as you move along in your career, you can always call on someone. Like that's been very helpful for me as I've gone through my life. Whenever I needed something, I'm always able to kind of call someone and ask for a favor or ask a question. And it's because as I go through my life, I'm really kind to people. Even if I have to say no, I'm kind. So you want to try to keep that as you move along in your career, because it'll help you in the long run.
Yes, so Lenise, if
Definitely. That's true.
you could give like 5 points, like five qualities that you feel you developed or you had in you that really helped you reach this level and become successful. What will you um,
Yes,
quote
I
them as?
actually I actually put a list together, and it was the
Mhm,
the 5 things that I wish I knew growing up. And the
mhm,
reason why I put this list together is because I think, had I known this earlier, I wouldn't have gone through such a terrible time after I achieved success so quickly. I
mhm,
had to relearn a lot of things. So here are 5 things that I wish I had known. One was that we are all unique, and we all have a special magic inside of us. And I say that because a lot of times we can spot it in others, like, oh, that
yeah.
person is so this and that person's got that, but I don't have anything. But the truth is we've all got something. So, even as you walk through life, and maybe some guy doesn't like you, or you don't get this job, don't let that get you down. Know that you are still special. There's still something special about you. You just got to tap into it.
Mhm.
So that was one. Two was keep trying. Failing is just a step closer to success. So, as I mentioned, everything that I've ever learned, when I first started, I had no clue what the heck I was doing. Like, from when I started playing chess, I walked into a room, everyone knew what they were doing. I didn't, but I sat there and I learned, and I got better and better and better. And the same thing with acting, and the same thing with exercise, the same thing in school. If I fall, I just figure out, what can I do better next time? Because eventually you're gonna stop falling. So I wish I knew that when I was younger. Another thing is, don't waste so much time chasing after people. I think when I didn't know that I had low self-esteem. I didn't know that I didn't love myself, because I was always chasing after someone to like me or hang out with me or love me or and the thing is I'm spending all that time chasing after this person, and you can never make someone love you or make someone like you. I could have been spending that time making myself a better person. So instead of spending time calling up someone, begging to hang out with you, instead, read a book or do something funny, work out, make yourself better, and eventually you'll find people that want to hang out with you. You don't have to waste time chasing people, because I wasted a lot of time doing that. Number 4 is we're all figuring it out as we go. That's because sometimes, it's like you can think, man, I wish I had a better grip on this, or I wish things were easier for me, or, why does this person have everything? And the key, what I really learned, and I learned this from being around super successful people, is that they're still figuring things out too. It's like we'll laugh at something that they believed years ago, and as they've gotten older, now they have a different belief. Even the smartest, the most successful, the oldest people, everyone's still figuring things out. We're all just doing our best. And I think knowing that makes it easier to cut yourself a break. Give yourself some slack. Just keep doing the best you can and know that that's all we're all doing. And the last one is that your feelings matter. Um, that is just related to self love and what we were talking about earlier, having relationships be reciprocal. If every time I hang out with you, we're always doing what you want to do and you're super happy, but we never get to do what I want to do. Or if when I spend time with you, you're putting me down about things and I walk away feeling terrible about myself, I shouldn't be in that situation. And I wasted so much time around people that didn't respect my feelings, and that hurt. When I got older, I realized I wasted too much time. So those are the things that I want to make sure that girls are tracking on, so they don't spend so much time sad or in despair. You should be happy. Life is fun. There will be ups and downs, but if you protect your energy, you'll be a lot happier.
Thank you, LaNease. That was beautifully put. And so basically, we don't need to go looking for love, trying to find love where, we're not getting it. It lies within us. We just need to tap it within ourselves. If we love ourselves, then we won't need that external reassurance all the time.
Exactly.
What do you think, Malaika? What are your sentiments on this?
I feel like everything she said, like it's so wonderfully put because these are things that you really don't understand. I feel like, especially with this, like just knowing that everyone's just struggling because all you see on social media is people like portraying the best of themselves. And then it really makes you think that, why am I slacking? And then I think when you put into perspective the fact that these things are only there for show and you don't really know what's going on, I feel
Exactly.
like that
Yes.
growing up is really important. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that I wish I had known that, because, I always looked when I was growing up. I thought that everybody else had it all together and I was the only one struggling. But what I found out is that everyone's just really doing their best. And some people are better at certain things, but we've all got something that we can really excel in. So, whatever really stirs your soul, whatever makes you really happy, that's the passion inside of you that you can really start to focus on that. So, some people, have got this, and some people have got that, and you've got something too, you know?
So, LaNease, was it easy
Yeah.
for you to find or spot what was it that was special in you, or did it take time for you? How did
Um,
you spot it?
No, it took a lot of time for me. I knew
Mm.
that I had fun when I was in acting class, and I knew that, when I was in my math class, that those things came a little bit easier to me, and that was fun for me, but I didn't know that I should be paying attention to that and thinking about a career that those passions can, be best served. So I wish I had been thinking about that when I was younger. Just what makes me happy. That way I would have focused a lot more on my acting when I was younger. So I think taking the time to really listen to yourself, figure out what makes you happy, journaling, when something makes you smile, really pay attention to that. Like, I love to laugh. I love comedians. Like, I love people who look at life and can make things funny, even though we're all having good and bad times. So, since I know that about myself, I ended up doing a comedy sketch series on YouTube. So, it's like just thinking about what makes you smile and how you can, bring that out into the world.
And Denise, one thing I forgot to mention earlier was that you're an entrepreneur as well. So
Yes.
tell us more about your enterprise.
Yes, I have an organic soap line called Fountain of Youth Bath.
Is
And I
that the reason why you look so young?
That's
What
the
is way
reason.
older than 18?
That's the reason. You've got to try this. But no, I love essential oils. So I made my own soap line that has, a lavender scent. One is vanilla, one is lemongrass, one is eucalyptus, and one is rose. So they just, smell so amazing. They're all organic. It's got some pink Himalayan salt in there, which is really great for the skin. So it's just something that I thought I wanted to make it for myself, and I loved it so much. I just decided to put a lot into, marketing it. So I got my trademark, and I got my design, my labels, and it was a lot of work, but I'm really happy with it. And it's something that I can do. I've got my regular things that I'm doing, my acting and all of that. And then this is another passion that I get to work on as well. So it keeps me busy, and people love it. So I'm really happy about it.
Yes, so
I
Lenise,
love
like
that.
you're doing,
Like, I love soap.
Yes, I'll have to
Like
try to
pretty
get
soaps
you
and
guys
soaps that
some.
smell good. I love them.
It's amazing because you wake up, the first thing you do, when I usually like to do the lemongrass. You get up, you're a little groggy, you go in the shower, and all of a sudden you've got this aromatherapy in there, and that is
Yeah,
the best way to start the morning.
definitely.
yes, so Lenise, like you're doing multiple things. So, as to somebody who's just starting out, what would you advise them? Should they first work on developing one thing and then another, or they can, sort of invest little time or manage time between three things or like more than one thing? Or what would you advise them?
Well, since we're speaking to the youth mostly, I think when you're younger, focusing on one thing at a time is, kind of important, because you want to make sure that you're giving whatever you're focusing on, giving it your all, and really trying to see things through. Me, I'm 42 now. So some of these things I've had, like I've studied acting, it's been 20 years. So now I don't have to do as much studying with that. So I can put my time into other things while I'm still acting. But I feel like when you're young, you really want to get a good hold on a career or a business. So I personally think it's you don't want to spread yourself too thin where they say, a jack of all trades,
Yeah.
a master of none. So you really want to make sure that you've got a great hold on something before you continue to split yourself off, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Malaika, you have more questions for LaNease?
No, I actually really loved her 5 points already. Like I had a bunch of questions, but she really addressed everything there.
Yes,
Oh,
you covered
good.
everything beautifully, LaNease. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for being here and, sharing all your insights with young ladies. And I'm sure it can do them a world of good.
Well,
So,
that's my goal, is to use all of the pitfalls that I went through and try to help the young girls so that they don't waste so much time and experience so much pain.
mm,
So I'm really happy to share, and I'm glad that it's making a difference. Thank you for having me.
yes, and it was wonderful having you and Malaika. So, Malaika, what are the 3 points you're going to take away from here today?
Well, firstly, not to chase friendships or any kind of relationships, because even I've noticed, like every time you try to force a connection, you just end up in a worse spot than you started off in. Connections that you
Yes.
naturally develop are always the only ones that are good for you. And second is definite. I've been feeling a bit a, a kind of hopeless, if you will, because like I recently graduated and this entire job hunting process is just such a struggle. But when you said that everyone's struggling, it just made me feel so much better. Like this has been weighing
Yes.
on me for like the past couple of weeks because I've been like, God, why did I have to graduate during a pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
And lastly was definitely how you mentioned that all of us are unique. So I feel like this entire talk just gave me such a boost of self-esteem that I can't thank you enough for.
Oh, that makes me
And
so
also like,
happy.
yes,
I'm
I'm so
so
glad
happy
I
to
was a
hear
part
that.
of
I
this.
can't.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting me here. I love this.
Oh, that's so awesome. And I can't wait. I hope we get to continue to see what you do next. Like, just, keep in touch.
Totally. Yes. So I'm
Definitely.
sure you're going to do great, Malaika, and you have so much potential, and there's so many things you're aspiring to do and fight for human rights as well. What more wonderful thing can there be other than that? And so all the best to you, and thank you, LaNease. It was wonderful having
Thank
you.
you.
And so I think with that, we'll say good evening to everyone in our part of the world and good morning to you.
Good morning. Okay.
Have
Have
a
a
great
great
day
day.
and have a great weekend as well.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.